Hey friends, it's Jeannie. Thanks for joining me here today. I'll be sharing this fun and easy card using Not Too Shabby's Be Mermazing and Hugs and Fishes stamp set, which were sets in the June description box. I'll also be using them along with Trinity Stamp's Slimline Embossed Circle Window Panel die, along with one of the blue pattern papers from the Dots for Spring 6x6 paper pad. I just wanted to go through all the colors to pick out the one I wanted, and I stuck with blue since I was creating an ocean themed card. So I also had a slimline card panel that was a scrap, and it totally matched with the theme that I was thinking. It's a light blue kind of watercolory piece of paper, which you can't really see in the video, but it does look like it has some texture to it. I used that panel to cut out the slimline embossed circle window panel, and then I also used that same die to cut out the circles out of the pattern paper. And I really like this die because it lines up already. That middle window panel is actually one piece, so you don't have to fiddle with it to make sure it lines up. For all my images today, I inked them up using Ink on 3's Juicy Ink, which is an embossing ink, which stays sticky so you can add embossing powder on it. I am covering all my images with white embossing powder, and I will be heat embossing. This card was intentionally an easy card to create, but I had a few issues along the way. I didn't really feel like coloring these images today, so the easiest way I thought of was just to heat emboss them and ink them up. So there's no coordinating dies for this stamp set, but they were easy enough to fussy cut. And so I'm taking my heat gun to my images and making sure that the embossing powder melts. Once I have all the images ready, I went ahead and cut them separately out because I will be inking them up using distress ink. I had stamped all these images using Bristol Smooth cardstock, and this cardstock is super smooth. It has kind of like a coating on it, so it makes it really easy to blend. You won't have any issues, and even if you did, you could just easily fix them by blending a little bit more. If you are new to ink blending, I definitely recommend Bristol Smooth cardstock. I usually get mine at Michael's or Blick Art Supplies. Michael's usually has a coupon or sales or something, so it's relatively cheap. I am just going in with a plethora of colors of distress inks. I will have them all listed down below in case you're interested, but I wanted to keep the colors away from blue, so I stuck with oranges, reds, and purples, and a little bit of pink. As you can see, this is super easy, and the embossing powder will resist the ink and the white will show through, so it makes it look really pretty, and it's such quick coloring. For my main panel itself, I thought I wanted to add a little bit more blue so it can match the circle interior. So I took, I believe it's Salty Ocean, and just added some color around the edges. And here I am taping my window panel down to 8.5 by 3.5 cardstock. And this way I know that I can insert the circles perfectly, and this panel will sit right on top and it won't be crooked. So that's just a quick trick to do. I will be popping up the main panel on foam tape, which is why I didn't want to glue it down directly right away. I'm just using 2 pieces of washi just to hold it down temporarily so I can insert and glue down those 3 circles in the middle. Once I did that, I went ahead and removed the panel, and I covered the entire back panel with foam tape. And I had an issue with adhering the panel to the slimline card. I honestly hate lining up slimline cards because they're so long and it's just really hard to do sometimes. I filled up every little nook and cranny because I didn't want any dips in the panel. Once I did that, I removed all the little pieces and I inserted it on top. I removed the struggling. It actually ripped my paper on the bottom, so I just went ahead and trimmed this entire panel down, and I'll just mat it again. My bottom panel was just ripped. You can't see it on camera, but this is how I just kind of forego that. It's just an extra layer of cardstock and it's not that big of a deal. Since the main panel is popped up on foam, there is an uneven surface for these images, And what I did was I cut little pieces of foam where it would sit in the interior circles, and then I just added glue directly to the images to add them onto that main card panel. So this took a little bit of extra time because I wanted that dimension. I added the foam tape, and if you don't want to do this step, you definitely didn't need to pop up the main slimline panel on foam tape. You could just add it directly to your main card panel, and that would have worked fine. I had played with the idea of doing a shaker card as well, but I just didn't feel like doing that today, so I stuck with a very simple card, and I thought the pattern paper for the little circles really worked out well. So I had added the sentiments last, which is a mistake because you can see that the see you soon on the left hand side wouldn't stamp properly, and when I kept re-stamping it, it just moved and it just didn't work out. So I needed a way to cover it up, and what I did was I stamped directly on a piece of white cardstock, trimmed it down, and covered up my mistake. I do this pretty often when I mess up heat embossing or I mess up stamping. If you were to create this card, definitely stamp the sentiment before you add foam to the panel, and you should be able to get a really clean card and a clean stamp. So because I had trimmed down my main card panel, I had to mat it again on a piece of 8.5 by 3.5, and it has that nice white border. I thought it looked a little plain, so I decided to go in with some heart embellishments just to add to the card and fill up all the empty spaces. These embellishments are from Trinity stamps, and they're little hearts. You definitely can find whatever embellishments you have in your stash, and if there are some embellishments that are similar in the Not Too Shabby shop, I'll also list them down below. But I thought that that really finished off the card, and I love that red heart between the seahorses in the middle. So I hope you enjoyed today's card along with the small mistakes that I had made, and I will see you guys next time with another video. Bye!